Welcome to the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast, where we explore the unexplained and mysterious phenomena that have occurred throughout the state of Michigan and beyond.
From UFO sightings to ghostly encounters, we delve deep into the stories, the evidence, and the theories behind these strange events.
We are your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Wayne.
We are an educator duo that after an encounter with a triangular UFO in 2018 in Michigan, we decided to investigate UFOs and the paranormal. In this podcast, we will be speaking with eyewitnesses, experts, and researchers to uncover the truth about some of the most intriguing cases of paranormal activity in and around Michigan.
Our goal is not to convince anyone of the existence of these phenomena, but rather to provide a platform for discussion and exploration. So, buckle up and join us on this journey down the paranormal rabbit hole.
On an escalator.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the most controversial Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters podcast.
Well, you're really fishing for it tonight,
well,
aren't you?
You know how it goes. So we are glad to have you joining us, and on this Sunday night in the shadow of the great Motor City, Detroit, Michigan.
Did you forget where you live for a minute?
My brain is not working today. Yeah, I did forget where I live.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's definitely October.
It is October 5th, 2025. And you know what that means? All Hallows Eve or Halloween is quickly approaching. It's that time of the year where the nights get longer, the days get shorter, and the trees lose their leaves. The veil between our world and the spiritual realm is thinning. So tonight, we're talking to one of our favorite psychics and authors of all things paranormal, Gemma Jade. Michelle, you want to just jump right into this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's just bring her on. All right, here we go. It's Gemma Jade. Hello,
Hi.
Gemma. How are you?
Guys? I'm good. Good.
Well,
Thank
how
you for
have
having
things
me.
been going?
Good. Things are good. I love spooky season. I'm extra busy because every year I try to do 7 nights of Halloween on my channel. So I put from the 25th to the 31st, just an extra one of my pre-recordeds, but it's a lot of extra scripting, editing, all that stuff. But I love it. It's what I love to do. So other than being super busy, things are cool.
Awesome. Now, before the show started, we got information from one of our listeners that a few months ago when you were on, I'm going to show the picture and maybe you can talk about it again a little bit. But he said that after he saw a show that we had with Nathaniel Gillis, these scratches showed up on his arm. And I had people, yelling and debunking these and, saying, he scratched himself and yada, yada. Wait a minute. Where'd he go?
It's me again.
It's you again. And now you're gone. Okay. You just gotta love, let me remove it and add. There we go. All right. Sometimes StreamYard does some very strange things, but anyways, so he's got 4 scratches on his arms or on his arm. And he said they appeared right after we had Nathaniel Gillis on and he was thinking about the show. And, come to find out, next weekend we have Nathaniel Gillis coming on the show. So that's going to be a little weird. We have the order different this time. But he said that you absolutely nailed what was going on and you were 100% correct. And you had said something about a demonic attachment and him possibly getting sick and, some of the side effects that these entities may have once they're like attached to you. And it sounds like that was kind of happening to him. Some kind of a slow illness or something like that happened. Do you recall what you were saying about that picture?
I don't remember specifically like everything, but I do remember telling him that, everyone thinks the demonic are 333, the mocking of the Trinity. And sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just because there's 4 or 2 doesn't mean we're not dealing with something demonic. And demonic attachment is something that I've seen ramp up because I can see them. I mean, on people walking down the streets. If I am doing a video call and I open myself up to get in that space, that's one of the things that I do privately, is let people know what's attached to them, what's going on, how to get rid of it, all that stuff. But what I do recall about my conversation with him is telling him, you know, you can pick these things up through literally anything. There are movies I will not watch or allow in my home. Now it's getting to the point with like music as well. And some people did get upset with me, I remember, because they thought I was blaming your previous guest. And that's not what I was trying to do at all.
Right.
What I was saying to the person with the scratches on their arms is that if you have something lurking around you, just waiting for access, the minute you start listening to anything having to do with certain topics, the demonic, or even some other occult things, some other paranormal things, it depends on where your energy is at, what's lurking around you. There's always something lurking around each and every one of us at any given time, just waiting for an in. And we give it that in when we get too deep in research, when we are focused so much on what someone's saying about it and we can't get it out of our mind. So we're manifesting, not even realizing it, and things like that. I think he inadvertently picked it up because of his energy at the time when he was watching the show, and he did not protect himself. Again, not blaming anyone, not even him, because he didn't know. But before I do a show, even like this, I will protect myself. The way I do that is by burning a certain kind of incense and saying a prayer, because I'm religious. But there are other ways you can do that too. And I believe I did tell him what was going to come next as far as like illnesses and stuff, but I don't remember the exact conversation. I'm just really happy I was able to help him, and I was able to, or at least tell him what's going on, which has got to be a big when you know, at least when you know what it is, you can figure out a way to defend yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And I don't want to veer off the path too much because I don't want to piss too many people off. But when you see the current events of the last, like, let's just say month, right? And the first thing that was going through my mind, and Michelle got mad at me last week because I said I'm not a Christian. I'm not really a religious person, but I am spiritual. I believe in a higher power, call it God, call it source, whatever you want. I think there are divinely inspired writings, and they make sense because certain writings are just good for setting up a society and how things should function and how you should treat each other and things like that. So it's just what some person would call religious dogma. To me, it's more just common sense. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say. Because I don't know. I'm agnostic when it comes to I don't know, right? So, but when I see the things that happened when the assassination took place of Charlie Kirk, not a political person. Well, he was political. He talked politics, but you know, he wasn't a leader. He wasn't a president. He wasn't a senator. He was just really a podcaster, just like anybody else on here that wants to come on and talk. Somebody didn't like what he was saying, and instead of those college students and these people, you know, who are cuckoo in the brain, turning it off or going somewhere else, right? You have freedom to walk away.
Yeah.
You don't have to attack and kill somebody in front of his family and millions of people. And when I saw that and I started digging into it, the first thing that was coming to mind was you and Nathaniel and these attachments and how this belief system is like an ideology that can get into your head and make it so people will sit there and laugh and celebrate the death of somebody is beyond my comprehension, especially as somebody who was in the military. My main job was to do that. Nobody ever wants to do that. Right. Everybody's got a family. Everybody's got a mother, a father, somebody, something, right? And it's not something that's an easy task unless you are possessed with some type of demonic ideology, belief system, whatever the case may be. So I was just wondering, and I know we kind of talked a little bit, about what happened and things, but what was your overall feel from a paranormal sense? Okay. What you saw happen. And I know a lot of people, including myself, even Michelle, we're still like going, wow, that was really just effed up. Like, this makes no sense. So, anyways,
I was devastated. It changed the whole trajectory of my career, really, in a big way. But from a paranormal perspective, I have been saying, or actually, I've been saying privately, because publicly I want to keep people happy and I don't want to deal. And I'm just like, let's, that's what that changed for me. We're like, I'm just not going to be quiet anymore. And, I'm sorry if people don't like that, but I've been saying privately, and to the people that I'm closest to for years, at least the last 4, I would say probably the last decade, that demonic attachment, not just lower vibrational, you're picking a little thing up here or there, demonic, meaning actual demons from hell, or wherever you think demons come from.
Or just evil.
Yes,
right?
but I mean literal demons, like attaching to people. These types of things. I believe there are so many people in prison now that they're like, I don't remember, like that were overcome and overtaken and were possessed. Even very, a demon's not going to sit in prison and suffer with you. They're going to scram. I do believe that, and I know some people, call me a conspiracy theorist for this, but I know what I can see with my actual eyes, the spiritual things that I've been blessed to be able to see. And I see it at concerts. There are demons behind the people performing. There are demons going through the crowd, whispering in people's ears. There are also, you guys know we've discussed it before. I don't know if we've discussed it here, but I've discussed it many times, where not everybody who looks human is actually human. So I don't know about the whole reptilian overlord thing, but I do believe some people in Hollywood and in politics are reptilians and they are masquerading as humans. It's the same with demons. And they're right out in the open now. They are right out in the open. If you watch some of these street preachers and the people that come up to heckle, you will literally within a split second see a demon manifest and move. You can see it if you're looking for it and if you're paying attention. So yeah, I feel like the demonic is, it's hard for me too, because I'm a very religious person. So I try to keep it separate because I don't want to overwhelm people all at once with everything. But it is demonic propaganda, I would say. And it is, a lot of it is literally coming from demons to someone with a little bit of power, to someone with a little bit of a voice, like a famous podcaster maybe, or someone like Charlie Kirk, but the opposite, right? Someone as big as him. All that demon has to do is whisper.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Whisper a little something in the ear, and then that person completely believes it, espouses it, and then there's like an army of followers to things that just do not, they literally don't make sense. And half of the country or more is looking at it going, what? That doesn't even make sense. And then the other half's possessed. This is demonic possession. And it happens to all people. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. It just seems that it is spreading and threading through one particular side, and they're so overwhelmed and overcome by it, and there's so much of it that they can't see past it. There's so much possession. You can even look, if you look up at exorcism statistics, how much actual demonic possession that needed approval from the Vatican for exorcism in the last 5 years has gone up. I don't even know how, so much. It's mind blowing. It's a real thing, guys. The devil, or whatever you want to call it, real.
Yeah. I was going to ask you later about if, you have seen, increasing trends and that kind of stuff, exactly like exorcisms and things like that.
Very much increased, not just slightly, a lot. It is a mind virus. People say maybe the woke mind virus or the whatever mind virus. No, it's demonic mind virus. It's what the devil does. Confuses, tempts, right? And all these people in positions of power, and they're like, I have a great life. And they'll, someone will say to me, you're a devout Christian and look how you're struggling with this, that, or the other. And it's yeah, the devil will absolutely let you have everything while you're here. Sure. Why not? Why
Mhm.
not? That's part of the deal.
That it is. That it is. Well, let's switch gears for a little bit. I know
Sure.
we're at the beginning of the the thinning of the veil, you know,
Yes.
and we'll probably dig into that a little bit more here, but let's talk about the new book. What's
Yes.
going on with that?
So it's right up your
This
guys' alley.
Yeah, this is us, man. Let's go.
It is totally you guys. It is. I haven't even come up with a name for it yet. I've got a few ideas in mind, but it is about real encounters with extraterrestrials, real documented cases or cases that listeners and friends have sent to me that I believe. I always go by instinct with those types of things, whether I know the person or not. If I intuitively, instinctually feel that it's true, I'm very hesitant to tell people I don't believe them because of everything I've seen my whole life. Like, it's devastating. So I just want to do that, just like I did the campfire stories where it's like encounters with things in the woods. I want to do the encounters with ETs, and I've talked about it so much on my channel. I was never interested in extraterrestrials. It's not that I didn't believe in them. I was just like always really terrified of that subject ever since I was a little girl. If a commercial even came on that had like space in it, I would run crying. I never understood this until Mother's Day 3 years ago when I had an experience that I remember with some extraterrestrials, and I've been having a lot of them ever since. And it kind of pulled me into this community. And I was like, you know what? I have so many of these encounters already. Let me make a book about it and put it out there. I mean, I've covered so many other things: BEK, fairies, shadow entities. Why not extraterrestrials? Because they're real too. What they are, I don't know. Where they come from, I don't know. But I know they're real.
Well, I think that's kind of where the government's at this point. They don't know much about them, but now they're finally starting to say it's real.
I
You
think they
know,
have no choice at this point to like
yeah.
at least say some. They cannot. Then again, with everything else people deny on a daily basis, that's so obviously not true. Maybe, but I feel like, of course, they're gonna have to say something now because there is no denying this. It's like with other phenomena. The BEK, I say it in that book. Shadow entities, I say it in that book. I say it all the time. Throughout millennia, all of these hundreds or thousands of people, tens of thousands of people have all the same experience, completely independent of one another, with internet, without internet, never speaking to each other at all, have the exact same experiences. I'm sorry. No,
Yeah.
that's it's just not possible.
So what are some of the things you're finding really interesting and maybe a little on the creepy side of looking at this alien abduction and what you're digging into? Are you getting the same kind of vibe like if you do too much research into the demonic things and stuff like that, that you might, possibly go too far and end up somewhere you don't want to end up, or some other kind of attachment or anything like that?
That is kind of what I've been a little leery of, is like, how deep do I really want to dig? Because I know what happens when you look too deeply into the paranormal, the occult, the demonic stuff, demons, but I know how to protect myself from that. Those protections, I know for a fact, do not work against extraterrestrials, which is another thing that blows my mind because like people are like, they're demons. No, they aren't, because the protection mechanisms that have been in place for millennia that I use do not work on a lot of different ETs that I've seen, and that I've encountered and that have made contact with me. So I do take it little by little because I've had some beautiful encounters. I mean, I'm saying it like I've had a million. I've had like 6 different encounters, and I've had some beautiful ones. They were overall beautiful, but there were 2 that I had that were literally the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I've met the devil face to face. Like, this was worse, what was going on with me. And some of the things that I'm starting to find out, that kind of mess me up a little bit as far as like my abilities and all the things I've been able to see and do my whole life, is a lot of people are starting to point to the fact that like those are things that kind of like being able to get into someone's mind, not read minds like people think. It's an energy thing, where I'll pick up what someone's thinking and be like, oh, that was weird. It happens all the time. But it's like, that's what a lot of ETs just generally do, right? They speak telepathically. Or there were other things that came up that got me thinking like, whoa, is this an ancestral thing? Like, are we just in the past of where we're supposed to be? Or are we related to them, some of us, and we're just here on a mission? I'm really starting to believe that that's true. I believe they are coming back to the people that they either put here for a specific mission or their bloodlines. I believe that a lot of abductees, people who have been accosted or abducted or even have made contact with extraterrestrials, it's because the ETs have been watching them their whole lives. I mean, it's time after time after time after time that seems to be the case. And again, all of these people, all independent of one another, of course, not everyone, but you know, it's terrifying because it's so massive to me as someone who didn't grow up in this community. I know now I was scared because I've been having experiences ever since I was little. I just didn't remember them. So that's what that like ingrained fear was, where I'd go running from the TV and hide in my closet because like Star Wars was on. It's because of repressed or suppressed memories.
That's interesting. I just what was one of those experiences that made you completely like, I mean, if you want to share, like what was one of those really bad ones that you had to deal with? I mean, and to your point about like families or bloodlines, we have seen that with a lot of people we've interviewed on here about abductions and implants, that it's now their grandchildren or it was their grandfather or grandmother. And yeah. And so as a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen we just recently had on here for three episodes in a row, Benny Fogan, and he had the alien metal that was basically tested and found out to be not made on this planet. You know, he has a daughter, which they call the alien baby, you know, because his wife at the time couldn't get pregnant. They were both abducted. The next thing you know, she's pregnant and giving birth. And she could pick like symbols off of cards. And we're going down there in a couple weeks. They're only in Ohio. And we're going down there in a couple weeks to meet them and see them in person and the metal, which will be an interesting show all of its own.
Yeah.
But we'll have to meet online with you right afterwards to see what has attached itself to us.
Yeah.
Oh, just hit me up. I will help you in that one. I got you.
Yeah. So again, there's a family that has had experiences for generations.
Yep.
There's lots of them. Me about it. So anyways, back to your story. What was one of the things with this alien abduction or aliens that terrified you so bad?
So both times it was terrifying. It was reptilians. Both times. And they just terrify me. I don't even like covering them anymore. I used to think they were so cool and like fascinating until I remember waking up in the middle of the night, but it was kind of like I was in a dream, but like I was awake. You know how like you know the difference, but when you're in a dream, sometimes you're like, wait a minute, I'm dreaming. I can just do whatever. It was kind of like that. So I guess I was like in between, and I see this blinding light outside my window. And, you know, at this point, I still think I'm dreaming, and I'm looking, and I just couldn't even keep my eyes on it. It was so blaringly bright. Now, I don't even have street lights. I don't have sidewalks. We don't have lights in our yard. Like, it is pitch black out there. We live in the woods. And I remember for some reason, instead of being like scared, there was a beautiful woman's like sing-songy voice of like, just relax, go back to sleep. So I'm thinking I'm dreaming anyway. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I go back to sleep. And the next thing I remember, because the memories come back very incomplete and in bits and pieces, and I've spoken about this on my channel very briefly. I was being held down in bed, and by these three creatures, and they were huge. They weren't like small little, they were like, I would say like 10 feet tall. I'm 5'7". They were gigantic and extremely muscular. And they didn't need three of them to hold me down. That's for sure. But they were trying to, as I was screaming, they were trying to suck something out of my mouth. And I was screaming, no, no more. Like, I already see enough. I don't know why I was saying that. I don't know what it means. But again, back to my ability being connected, I don't know, but it really made me start thinking. And then all of a sudden, I, screaming, blink, open my eyes. I jump up and I'm just lying in my bed. But I have scratches going up my arms. I have, scratches here. And they're not the typical, like, I woke up with some scratches, like the guy who we just showed his picture. They were very different. And they did kind of look animalistic. And I just have had this feeling ever since that they were trying to, like that my abilities have been given to me somehow. And they were not trying to take, they were trying to give more. They were trying to get me to be able to, it was so creepy. And I still don't know what happened. I saw them one other time, but it wasn't in a dream. It was when I was out. I was at the fair about a block away from my house, and a person just morphed right in front of me. Everything. First, I'm looking at this person, right? And they have, it was a tall white male. I mean, at least 7 foot tall. And I know that because my husband's 6'5", and he's very tall. This person was at least 5 inches taller than my husband. We're all standing around to watch this magic show that's going on the stage. Small town New Jersey, not a big thing. It's in the field of the church. So, it's small, but there are a lot of people there. And I'm with my little guy. And this person sticks out right away because they have this huge hair, this ponytail of dreads, and they're very tall. So I just look, and they turn back, and he looked at me and kind of like sneered, or smirked, I would say. And I was like, oh, and it gave me just like my whole body just turned ice cold. And I was like, oh, and I tried to focus my attention on the show. Then I couldn't pull myself away. I had to look back. I looked back, and this person had morphed completely into a reptilian extraterrestrial, and nobody was moving. Everything stood still except for me and this thing. There was about a line of people in front like this, and then they were in the line in front over to my left. And they turned around and looked and smirked and stuck out their little lizardy tongue, turned and faced the stage again, and then everyone started moving. A different part of the show was on. Like, it was like the time it stood still for me in this thing, but for everyone else, it's like I was like not, like they were still watching whatever they were watching. Right. I missed that part. The whole thing had to have lasted a full minute because they were like on to the next trick at that point. That was this past June. Yeah.
June, okay.
Tell me you wrote about that in the book.
Not yet. I just started the book, so.
Okay.
But I will.
That needs to be the opener.
I want to go back to the brightness. Did you say that was one of the creatures that was so bright you couldn't look?
I always thought it was a craft, but I really don't know because the brightness was so bright. And then when I looked out the window, my windows are very, they're not like a regular size window. They're those small, like all the windows in my house, you can't put an AC in them, like very small. Mm-hmm. And when I looked, I remember thinking like, what the F is that? And before the thought was completed, the lights got so bright. And then the voice came, and it was just like, the voice was like warm honey spilling over my body. And I was like,
okay, that's weird.
As a recovering addict, I'm like, oh, like I know this feeling, and I just laid back down.
Do you know, by any chance, who Michael S. Heiser is?
No.
Okay, he was a biblical scholar. He passed away a couple years ago, I think, at this point, of pancreatic cancer. He was a great researcher, and he was able to tie in, well, I don't want to say it like that because, he was a biblical scholar, and he would go to UFO conferences, and he would say, when you have these alien abductions and stuff, instead of thinking of an alien off a planet, why don't you try a spiritual answer to this? And then he went and he broke down the ancient Hebrew in the Old Testament. And the serpent that is in the Garden of Eden.
Yes, I do. I'm actually reading Genesis now every morning.
Okay. Think about what you just said about that bright light. Do you know that the ancient Hebrew word is nakash? And that can mean 3 different things. It can mean a serpent. It can mean a bright, shiny one. And then there's one other thing. I don't think it
Wow.
really matters. Like it's somewhere in between, but the Nakash is what was originally considered the shaitan or the Satan, what we call
I was going to
Satan.
say Lucifer is bringer of light. He was the angel of light before
Right.
he was cast down. If in
So in
Christianity.
right. So his argument is that it wasn't a snake so much or a reptile
Oh,
in the Garden of Eden. It was the shining one, the quote unquote alien, quote unquote. No, it's the dudes that were kicked out of heaven.
the
But
fallen
boom,
ones.
the fallen ones. Right. And I think that was one
Wow.
of the other meanings for Nakash. So when you were saying that, and you kept on saying reptilian and then the bright, and it made me think of that, like, that sounds exactly like the reptilians. And, I always used to think it was like a metaphor, right? Because we all have reptilian parts of our brain, our part
Yes.
of
Oh,
our brain
yeah.
that breathes for us and all that stuff is considered, fight or flight. That's kind of the reptilian brain kind of a thing. Those instant reactions and,
An
sex,
instinct. They say
sex,
primal
drugs, and rock
instinct.
and roll. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I ever heard anybody talking about that, it was like, it's being metaphorical. Maybe not so much anymore.
I'm gonna have to
So
look into that.
yeah, as a matter of fact, I can send you a lecture that he did at a UFO conference that will probably blow your mind.
I
And
would love,
I'll send that.
love.
Yeah.
I've been watching and listening to a lot of, you said Nakash, and that immediately, who do I think of? Somebody that I have like basically online stalked for more information, Nathan Reynolds. His story, and I just believe him. I see his light and I see his being and his spirit. He's not like that is all real. And there's actually someone in chat now, and I don't want to blow them up, but I actually convinced this person that they needed to leave where they were because they were somehow generations down the line a part of what Nathan Reynolds and his family were. And this person was going through so much, and it was because they were clawing their way back into his bloodline. Thank the Lord. Thank whatever you think is in control, because this person actually respected me and believed me enough that they did. They moved. They moved closer to me, actually, but they moved. And while they still, I don't even know if they believe me, or if they even still understand what I was trying to tell them, but they did move. And that's what that reminds me of, because he constantly says the Nakash, Shaitan, the Nakash. He talks about it all the time. And I'm just fascinated by him and that guy Ray from Pyramid Code.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
That was like so much that my guides had told me little by little by little. And then all of a sudden there's the Pyramid Code and Ray is saying all these things that like almost my whole life, my guides have like slipped into conversations about everything, the psychopaths and the missing children and like all of these things that I'm like, like confirming what my guides have told me about certain people, certain corporations, certain leaders, people in power, my whole life, that I don't know what to do with the information. But can you imagine hearing something like so-and-so world leader is actually, or an actual demon, and being like, okay, I'm 8. What do I do with that? And then I'm 41 and I hear someone else talking about it. And then another person, I don't know why, but like, it's just more, I wish more people would listen to people like that with an open mind, rather than just being like, oh, that person's a conspiracy theorist, that person's crazy. No, like that's what the greatest trick the devil ever performed was convincing the world he didn't exist, right?
Yep.
The devil is out in the open nowadays, on your TV screens, in the music, at the concerts. People are dying because of earthquakes. Like, no, they are doing rituals on their fans. And people are like, la-di-da-di-da, like, I love The Weeknd. Like, no, The Weeknd is literally selling your energy to the devil to remain famous. I mean, allegedly, right? And people are still like, I don't believe in religion. Hey, Black Circle Girl. She said to me, she goes, I didn't even know you had a channel. I love your books. And I'm like, that's a first. Like
Right.
somebody knows me from my books. Awesome.
Yeah, so welcome to everybody in chat and even over on Gemma's channel. If you guys are watching over there, she's streaming the broadcast over there on her channel as well. And make sure you guys go and check out her channel.
And just hanging out and talking about everything.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
so Gemma, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, Wayne was like, well, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, you know, we're not gonna stick to the script anyway. I'm like, just book it, write what you want, and we'll get there.
Well, let's talk about this. What does thinning of the veil mean in your own words? Let's just go back to basics. Everybody says, you know, thinning of the veil and da 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 da. What does that mean? What are people really trying to say or convey when they say that?
So I know that a lot of people like roll their eyes at that term now because it's so overused, right? Like the word narcissist or bigots. It's just so thrown out there all the time that people are like, oh, whatever. But it actually
Nazi.
yeah, Yahtzees. It is a real thing, and it's something actually that's happening all of the time, little by little, especially recently, again with, you know, these other realms opening up and these things coming out. And I think I've discussed that with you guys before. Imagine all of these so-called witches from back in the day, girls at slumber parties using Ouija boards, people in the woods thinking it's funny to try to conjure something. All of those portals need to be closed. Hello, they're not. These things are coming through at a rapid pace. And the more they come through, the more, I'm going to put it this way. This is not like what is the word? This is not like exactly it, but this is a good way for you to think about it. Every day, more and more portals from other realms and dimensions open up, which means less of our world is ours and more of our world is shared. Right? Because once that portal opens, if it's not properly closed, and normally it isn't because we don't even know we're opening them, let alone knowing how to stop, find them, look at them, and close them. So it becomes more ours, right? It's not human world anymore. It's whatever's coming through and our world, in our world. This is happening all the time. The thinning of the veil, specifically in October. Now, a lot of people say too, like, oh, it's Halloween. Halloween night, yes, it's at its thinnest. But throughout the month of October, and this is something to do with the moon and something that you'd probably be better to ask some pagans about. But I know in the month of October, from the very beginning, something with the moon, the phases of the moon, or it just starts slowly, the world between this realm and specifically the other side, the spirit realm. Not these other, you know, interdimensional, all those other portals that are opening all the time. This is specifically between us and the other side. The spirit realms, heaven, hell, whatever you want to call it. And little by little, it thins out until October 31st. And then something happens in the first week of November where it starts to thicken up again, where it starts to become more walled in. More people have experiences on Halloween than any other night. That's one of the reasons. Also, more people are looking to have experiences with ghosts and creatures on Halloween. That's another reason. But that's really just what it is. It's the ability to see beyond our human eyes into spirit or into other realms, dimensions. But in October specifically, it is the ability to see the other side, or I would say ghosts who did not cross over. The pieces of souls, when your soul shatters and one piece stays here and the other piece is reborn into someone else that looks exactly like you. I've seen people haunted by their own soul piece before from a past life. I mean, but that's what that is. I mean, it's a really simple thing, but I think it's just been thrown around so much that people don't even really listen. It's not, in my opinion, really a good thing. Because for as much as you have good, you also have the negative side of it. And I think far too many people nowadays, because of the demonic overtaking I was just talking about, people are more interested in the darker side. And you can very easily, especially in the month of October, pull those things to you without really doing anything.
Yeah. Michelle, do you
I was
think
going to
it's
say, when does Stranger Things come back
well?
to Netflix?
I only saw season
Talk
one.
about-
I haven't.
Talk
haven't
about
been able to
thinning the
watch it.
veil. That's like the prime example for me. And look at how many people are addicted to watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying
No,
that
it
we're
does.
one
It
of them
does
or
that.
anything.
I
Well,
don't
Michelle,
allow like The Exorcist in my house, because I've seen what comes out of that movie. I was tormented as a child for years after watching that because something came from that. It just was, there you gotta watch. You gotta. I know it sounds. A lot of people are like, "You're crazy. Like that's overboard." No, I don't mean like be on your kids. Like, what are you watching? No, like parental controls and everything. But like, use discernment. If it feels wrong to you, not just scary, but if you feel like something on top of the fear when you're watching something, listening to something, turn it off and rebuke it.
Wayne
Find
won't
it.
watch The Exorcist, and it's one of my favorites.
I've never gotten through it because it terrified me so bad. I was like 6, and my uncle was like, you were baptized Catholic, so that could happen to you. Who tells a 6-year-old that? First of all, why am I watching it in the living room with my mother while I'm 6? But my uncle says this, and then I was so terrified, it ended up manifesting an actual demonic thing that followed me from home to home until I was like 12, all because of that one statement. My ability I was so fearful, right? And I'm like, I can't. I've never gotten through that movie. Never gotten through it. I was watching that at 6 years old. My mom's like, come watch this with mommy. And I'm like, oh, yay.
No, I've watched it before. I don't think I made it all the way through when, once I see the head do the, 360-degree rotation and the puking on the priest. I think I was pretty much done, but I was pretty young when I saw that as well. And that kind of like, yeah.
I'm not
but Michelle,
scared of much, I'm not scared of much, but demons do terrify me because you guys, they are real. And it's not, they're way worse than anything that Hollywood could think of. Believe me, they are real, and they want nothing more than for you to suffer. I actually have a story I told on my live stream. If we have time, I'll tell it, about someone that signed a contract with the devil and what happened to her. A documented case.
Ooh. All right. Well, since we're talking about thinning of the veil, Michelle, I'm going to get something set up to quote unquote surprise Gemma with another picture.
Oh, is this my bestie's pick?
So I want you to set this up.
So I have to give a little bit of background about this around this photo that you're about to see. This is an image that my friend had sent me that she had caught on her Ring camera at about 4:17 in the morning. I asked her, I'm like, do you think it's a bug? She's like, nope, not a bug.
Okay. All right. Don't say about the neighbors.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything about the neighbors yet.
All right.
Well, you tell me to give a backstory, and then you tell me not to say anything about the neighbors.
Not that much.
We didn't talk about this before we were going to show the picture, but
I asked her if she's seen this particular image by her vehicle any other night through their Ring camera and monitoring system. And she said no. She said that they've seen like white orbs. And now she's looking into the subscription that will actually take video after this particular image. Now, I told her, I said, it's probably a bug.
I don't think so. Do you see it?
Oh my God. That I don't think it's a bug. I mean,
but then it's got a face. It's like a possessed scarecrow.
That was what I was going to say, either a clown or like a scarecrow. And I know people will say pareidolia, like, no, like that is actual. It has energy. I don't believe it's a bug.
So just so you see this, it says here, motion was detected. That's what caused the picture to be taken.
Can a bug do that?
A bug wouldn't appear like this.
I don't think so. That blur, when you see that in images, like if you take a picture of your family and someone has that, that's an energetic blur. That means whatever this is has an energy about it, right?
I immediately when I saw that, I got the feeling of, and I sound so ridiculous saying this, but some type of energy, like it's energy.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what I
for,
was. Yeah, you're right.
Well, a friend of hers had done like almost like a heat transfer to it as far as the images, and it ended up showing up 3 different skulls.
You know what's funny about that is I was going to say it almost looks to me like it's changing. Like, yeah, like more, I wouldn't have said more than one, but like that's kind of like in my head. I was like, wait a minute, I just saw this and now it kind of looks like it's that.
now look at where it was
funny.
showing that I think this box is showing like this is where it was detecting the motion. There's
Yeah,
nothing there. But
unless
then there's
its energy either came from it or passed through it, right? Passed through that spot, or it's emanating to that like spot.
and this was just on the 29th of September. So lots of 9s there. I don't know if you see this. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 9 on the 9th month of the 29th. But besides that, hold on, Michelle. I know what you want to say.
I want to tell briefly about the neighbors.
I want you to go into detail.
Oh, boy.
All right. So I'm sitting there thinking it's energy. That looks like some type of energy pattern. But I wanted to see if I could match up any of these lights, maybe being a lens flare or something like that. And I can't see it. And as somebody just said in chat, T-Bone, ain't no bug. No, a bug would appear differently. And by the way, yeah. And here's the thing. Okay. If this took a picture, where are all the other bugs?
Yeah,
there's nothing there.
It has legs. Do you see? There's 2 there. There's one floating in the air that's lighter, and then there's a darker body with there's legs.
All right, why is it doing this?
Okay,
all right.
I'm trying to look with like human eyes right now, not like trying to see like
Gemma in the audience.
So I want you to look at the house in the background, the one with the porch light on. Okay, so that's the house that we're going to talk about for a moment. The couple that live there are both deceased. Now, the man had passed away. The speculation is that the wife may have unalived him.
Oh.
But it was officially ruled.
It was never proven.
But what they say it was?
That he unalived himself.
Oh.
Now,
okay,
the rumors
I'm doing air quotes for people listening on the podcast.
There are 2 different stories to this. One, it's a multi-bedroom home, and one of the bedrooms was turned into a jacuzzi room.
Okay, freeze. What about the woman, the wife? What happened to her?
She passed away on the front porch.
On the front porch. She died on the front porch right here.
So sometime after.
It was about 8 months.
Let me finish talking about the husband.
All right.
So he had turned one of the rooms into a jacuzzi room. Well, what would happen is young men would come over wearing like camera devices around their neck. When they would come over, all of a sudden the shades in this one particular room would go down. Another part of the speculations and the neighborhood stories is that the husband was doing something to the woman's son. Don't know the age of the son, but that was
demonic.
Part of the backstory on the gentleman that lived there before he became no longer of the living. And then his wife sometime later had passed away literally on the front porch. So, and all the while across the street is where my good friend of over 36 years lives, right across the street where this image showed up by her car.
Floating in the air at 4:19 or 4:17 in the morning. Thinning of the veil.
She said she got alerted to it on her phone, And so she was able to quickly grab a screenshot. But like I said, she has reported that she has seen like white orbs around in her front yard, and we do not know if they are coming from the house across the street.
And just so you know, too, and Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be not remembering this correctly, considering my brain is all foggy as of late. But he unalived himself by a shotgun to the chest. Was that correct?
I'm not 100% on that one.
He supposedly used the wheelbarrow to prop the shotgun up.
I
or
think,
something,
but I'm not 100% sure. I would have to confirm.
quote unquote. All right, so Gemma, you're looking concerned.
I guess sometimes I can't help who like drops in. I see the chat talking about Sumerian goddess, Lama, and I do believe in those protective spirits, and I can see why, if you're familiar with those or something like that, you would maybe immediately go to that. But if you take everything together from what I was talking about before, where like there are so many more actual demons walking the earth, so many more possessions, so many more demonic and even just lower vibrational spirits. There are lower vibrational and like militant deadly ETs out there that are seeking to feed on our souls. Just because there are white orbs doesn't mean they're a good. A lot of people mistake that everything white or light, and I don't blame them, because this is kind of what's popular and what Hollywood tells us, and what we've come to know through the ghost hunting shows most of the time is like it's good. That's not true. That's just how the energy will show up. You know, if it was dark spirits were dark orbs, how would you see them at night? Do you know what I mean? So first of all, there's two separate entities there. They are joined and they are demonic. And someone said something that took the words kind of right out of my head, was the land. Normally when things are happening, because I might have misunderstood you, because did you say that it might have been the husband being inappropriate with the son, but then there was something else that happened before that?
No, there was a concurrent situation going on at the time that one of the rooms had been turned into like a jacuzzi or fun room.
I think what we're looking at here is the reason why homes, properties, and land becomes haunted after something like that happens. It's because those types of deaths, both types, whichever one it could have been, either or, bring these types of demonic entities that are going to now feed off of the negative imprints and energy left there, and then stick around because now they're fed to cause more pain and suffering to feed off of. And I would not be surprised if a decade or even two from now, there weren't more strange deaths or happenings, not only in the home, but in the area. These entities, and I can't tell you exactly what they are just from looking at them and knowing they're evil. I don't even want to say demonic, because they could just be evil, right? Not everything that's evil is demonic. They're going to wreak havoc now. I don't know if your friend is having issues, but I wouldn't be surprised if she were having issues and other neighbors having issues. I'd be interested to know that, because they're not going to be satisfied in like an empty home. If there are children around, all the better. I mean, there's more than one.
Well, that's not good, considering that she has her grandson in her house.
I would protect, she doesn't have to get crazy or be paranoid, or I don't want to make anyone fearful. I would be a little extra vigilant, right? They look a lot like tricksters to me, And they're very dangerous. And obviously I can't say for sure it's a blurred image, but it's going to be a blurred image. You're not going to capture one head on, face on. And honestly, they're normally only captured when they want to be. I don't believe this was an accident, which does also make me concerned for your friend, because you don't catch them by accident. Like, they want you to see them, think you're going crazy, think you have pareidolia, start getting paranoid. Now every noise you're jumping, so that when they're actually doing what they're doing, you're like, oh, I'm jumping at every little noise anyway, and you don't want to pay attention. So then you're not really paying attention, and that next thing you know, they're in your home causing all this havoc. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again. It's
Gemma,
literally what they do.
If you don't mind, I'm going to put her in contact with you.
Please, yeah. Tell her
Okay.
you can give her my number, tell her text me first, and we can set up a phone call so I can just explain all of this to her and give her like a little easy way that she can keep them at bay and at least keep her home protected, outside and in. There are things you can do that are so simple and take 5-10 minutes that will make all the difference, but they are usually not caught, unawares. They're purposeful. But especially with a child involved, I would be more than happy to help her, because it's not good. It's scary and creepy, and that's fun. But when it's a real person, and I've seen this happen time and time again to communities, to towns that are now ghost towns. I mean, why do those types of things happen? It's because these things keep the residual energy going to where it's not residual. Now it's happening in real time. And they will branch out all over the land.
And this is my best friend of 39 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when I say that she's my, part of my family,
Of
I
course,
definitely want to look out for her.
I will help in any way that I can. It is important that she do something, because again, this was purposeful. I don't believe you accidentally catch them off guard. Someone like I might, but just like for a regular, no, they're manifesting on purpose. Probably, I don't know how long ago the people in the home died, but eventually there's nothing left, right? So you got to find more. And now they're already there. They've already imprinted on that one home. I mean, this is why lands get haunted. It's these entities are almost always exclusively responsible. Tricksters or, summoned and conjured things.
So, Gemma, are you saying that the entities were already there in some shape or form, and then when these people pass, they draw that energy and use that energy to manifest to do more things?
I believe they were brought in by something going on in the house. Some kind of evil, some kind of ungodly or evil thing. They come in and they feed, but then it's kind of like an addict where like you build a tolerance, so you need more evil and more evil and more evil.
Okay.
It culminates. That man could have very well taken his own life, because that's like the ultimate for them. But I would say, honestly, I don't think so, because they get that one big bang of like, yeah, this is great, but then there's nothing. It's not so much grief they're after. They're after evil deeds and possibly even like overtaking. That's why small children are really at risk, to have children hurt themselves or hurt the adults around, and going after the innocent like evil does.
Yeah. Well, what kind of advice? I mean, you were just kind of hinting to it, but if there's people out there watching this later or listening later, what is your advice to give to people that, maybe they feel that they're being contacted by aliens, or at least visited, or dealing with some kind of entities? Let's just say, for simplicity's sake, let's say entities, and let it, apply to things that are not human. All right. What would be some of your advice that you would want to give?
I would say with extraterrestrials, I want to put this out there specifically. That's a whole different ballgame for me. I actually did have a client one time that thought they were under demonic attack, but they were actually being abducted. And I had to tell them to find like a group in their area. Like I had no help to give them to stop the ETs. But I know for spirits and entities and those types of things, barring extraterrestrials, the easiest thing is prayer. If you don't want to pray, I always tell people burning sage not only cleanses negative energy, it also keeps it at bay, and it also clears germs and stuff out of your home too. I mean, sage is like a wonder plant, really. That's the easiest thing. I make sprays with moon water and crystals and herbs and all this stuff that people can spray. But really, saying a specific prayer, depending on, what your religion is. So I'll ask someone, where do you stand with God? And then I go from there, right? Salting, all of these things that sound pagan or sound Christian, there's like a mixture of them, right? To keep these things at bay or get them away from you. And the main thing I would say to someone, and this is very hard, talk to someone who will believe you absolutely, and then have them keep you mindful of what you think is happening, right? So then you're constantly mindful. Nope, that thought's not mine. That thought's not mine. If you were religious, I tell you rebuke it in the name of Jesus. If you're not religious, I would tell you to bind it, to picture whatever's whispering in your ear, give it a face, and then picture it in your head, binding it up and locking it away. I mean, the Shining thing, what was it? Dr. Sleep in The Shining. That is a real thing you can actually do. You take them and you lock them away.
Well, just real quick, T-Bone does. Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
T-Bone asks, what is moon water?
So moon water is water that sits under a specific moon. So most people, I'll take like 2 big of those water cooler containers through each full moon each month. Each month's full moon has a name. I don't know them all by heart, but I know there's like a beaver moon, a wolf moon, a cold moon. And most people just use full moon, but I also do it in the new moon. It depends what you're working with, what you're trying to get rid of, what you're trying to bring in. Normally my sprays do like getting rid of negative attachment and keeping it at bay and all that. But it's really just water that sits under the light of the full moon from the time it comes out to the time it sets. Okay. And again, each month has a different moon that's good for different things. And each phase of the moon is good for different things, the moon cycles. And it's just really powerful. It's like charged. The energy is charged by the moon. If you believe in it, right? If you don't believe in it, it's probably not going to do much.
Yeah. Since we just showed you that picture from
my friend is freaking out because when she posted it on her own social media, no, she's getting ready for bed.
Oh, I thought she
was. I didn't want to freak anyone out. I don't want her to have in her head that like something bad's going to happen. I just want her to be proactive to make sure nothing does, right? I don't want to send anyone into a panic, especially not over their grandchild. Like, I just want
I'm not even mentioning him, but
proactive about keeping those things away, as far away as possible.
She did say that the whole area where they live used to be farmland at one time. And then when I told her, I said, we noted that it looks as though there's 2 and they're interconnected. And now she's analyzing back when she had put it on her own social media. She's like, someone else on the post said there were 2.
Yeah, there's at least 2. I have this thing, and I mean, I'm so used to stuff like this. Like, it's one of the main reasons my faith is so strong. I have a thing that when I moved in here, it was this big, and the only way I can describe it is a demon, a giant demon, that runs around the edges of the woods on my property at night because I've blocked it from entering. So now I kind of screwed up because its only focus now is entering. It no longer really goes anywhere else at night because its focus is, I will get in now. When sometimes it would come, sometimes it would go, sometimes it'd be there. 6 months it wasn't. But finally I was like, this is terrifying. I'm going to do something about this. And ever since I did that protection on my property, it's just fully focused on getting through. So sometimes you don't know I don't know what to do, but I know I don't want that thing in my home. I'm a super sensitive person. My husband's so closed off. If a ghost tapped him and said, believe in me, he'd be like, that's great. And he'd walk off. And I have a child in the home, and it depends on your openness too. I mean, people really don't believe that things are going to be around you and they're going to try to penetrate and they're going to whisper in your ear and they're going to try to overtake you. Some people are just born completely closed. They will not believe. They refuse to believe. They're not going to listen. And there's no penetration at all, no matter how hard the entity tries. And I think that's why some people don't believe, or like some people can live in a so-called haunted house. 5 people live there, 4 people are being attacked regularly, and one person's like, y'all are crazy. There's nothing here. The reason is because some people were simply born extremely energetically closed. I feel bad for those people because there's so much that, like, what if one day, like, I've seen people spontaneously open and then they don't know what to do because suddenly they are aware of everything, or they're aware at least of something, and they're like, oh my gosh, panic. It happened to my stepfather. When he was on his deathbed, he was just like my husband, don't believe, don't believe, don't believe. I was crazy, and he would get angry. And he was actually shaking and crying one of the last nights of his life because he was being visited in the hospital. And he wasn't on pain medicine or anything that would have caused him to hallucinate these things. He had just finally, because I knew it, but my family didn't know it at the time, he was opening up to pass on. And so he was now spontaneously just closed his whole life to open, and these things were coming at him and he didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, that makes me think of, have you ever run into anybody who talked and thought they were so closed off, they didn't believe any of this stuff, but then you saw that they were being affected by it because secretly in the back of their head, they just didn't want to put it out there that they, were scared or were open to it. So they just totally lied about, oh, this stuff's all bull crap. I don't believe any of it. Aliens, demons, whatever.
They don't want to give it power is what they always say.
But they will swear that it's not real. This is absolutely not real. But they know somewhere deep in the back of their brain, they're thinking it's real, and then they get affected.
Those are the types of people that say, oh, I just don't want to give that any power. I'm not even going to think about that. And it's like, buddy, there's no not thinking of it. It's like, it's there. I see that all the time. Absolutely. It's just pure stubbornness, to be honest. And those are the people who end up getting harmed the worst, and their families end up suffering. And I mean, it really does. You lose your job. You're like, oh, that happens to people. Well, it didn't have to happen to you. You just want it to be, like spiteful to me because I told you something you don't want to believe because you don't like me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to tell you that this is happening, but you don't like me. So I've had that happen so many times. And it's a shame because I watch people just go from like just down.
Well, and I'm glad that my friend is receptive in talking to this.
Yes.
So I had asked her whether or not her grandson had talked to something that the adults couldn't see. She said that he used to talk to something in the ceiling. And had told them that he had a friend that was a little boy that would sit on the chair in their room when he was younger. Now, he's a little bit older now, and as far as I know, he hasn't told them that he sees anything else, but there was a time when he was younger, maybe just a couple years ago, that he would talk to something in the ceiling and told both of his grandparents that he had a friend that was a boy that would sit on the chair that they used to have in their room. They got rid of the chair.
Can I just tell you that was, first of all, a great call. But most of the time, I can't say 100% of the time, throughout the world, but most of the time, children who die, they cross over. No matter where you think they go to, if you think they cease to exist, there are not a bunch of ghostly children running around really anywhere. There might be some exceptions, here and there, where like if a child dies with their parent, each one is separate and they can't see one another, even if they're in the same space, which is so tragic. They'll stay behind looking for the other. But very rarely are there actually child spirits. Those are demons. Those are demons. Little kids don't stay around. They see that light, or again, whatever you think, but I'm telling you in my experience and what I know, they see it, they go. Or they see, mommy or daddy or grandma or grandpa or uncle or aunt, they go. They're not, and their angels and guides are not just going to be like, okay, peace, kid, you don't want to come, and just leave them as a lost soul on earth. That just doesn't happen. It's not the way the other side works, especially the side of light, to just abandon small children who died way too young. So when you're dealing with a child talking to another child, I've seen children talk to like, this is old man Bob, or this is, one of my kids had my friend Louie, and I would be less skeptical of a grown adult ghost or spirit communicating with my own child than I would of a child spirit communicating, because 99% of the time they are demons and their ultimate goal is possession and the destruction of the soul. Children are the most innocent. The most innocent.
Oh, both the two of you are going to have a lot to talk about.
I have no problem with that. I'm glad you actually brought it up. It was a very creepy surprise. I didn't expect it to go where it went. I'm glad, because now I can help and be useful. Sometimes it's just like, I don't know what that is, but I had to think about it for a second, but I got it. I asked my guide, what is that? What is that? They're tricksters.
Michelle, is this the same friend that sent us that picture? There was like the dragon or whatever in the flash of light outside their car. Remember last time we had Gemma on and I popped it up on you guys? No, that was from a listener. She emailed it to us.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
No,
okay.
This is the first time that Bestie has ever sent me a photo.
Yeah.
And she is just absolutely in disbelief trying to figure out what it is.
Listen, if I saw that, I would be terrified. And I know about I spent my life seeing these things. It still scares me every time. It's not like, oh, there's just another demon over there.
Yeah.
It's still terrifying, especially for me as someone who believes in Jesus and I'm a practicing Christian. It's not just like nonchalant, oh, there's some more shadow people. It's terrifying and scary for someone like me. So I can't imagine for like a normie, like a muggle, like what that does to them,
Oh, she's got a couple more. So when
she's our fourth guest tonight,
she is, but she's
text.
not here. Literally, she's texting me this. She said when they first bought the place, her and her cousin were doing a lot of working, tearing out like the subfloor in the kitchen and stuff. And her cousin had brought her dogs with her, and the dogs literally went to the one particular corner and just barked at the corner constantly. Now, I mean, we know that animals a lot of times can sense things, but it gets even worse. When her son had his seizure, they had said that it looked like someone had been choking him, and they accused her and her husband, and the police were called on them.
That's right.
From the EMTs.
Seizures and convulsions were something that plagued me most of my young life. And they weren't that, I could see what was going on. Actually, one of them I actually remembered ended up being like some healing thing happening from like ET. My dad still remembers it the way I always remembered it until I realized what it was. But my childhood was plagued with things like that. That might be a sensitive child who now these things are around. Maybe because of that. Maybe, sensitives lights shine much brighter than, that doesn't mean we're better or anything. It just means our lights are much brighter than like a regular person. So a sensitive child who doesn't even know what that means or how to control that will definitely lure in attack entities trying to break the child down before the child has a chance to communicate with its guide who can help him or her through a lot of the things. If it wasn't for my main guide, Aaron, I don't know if I'd have made it through childhood, but he got to me before anything like that happened. But I did have the convulsions and the seizures too. Yep.
Well, I think that this was when Tyler was older, or her son was older. Oops, trying not to say names.
It's so hard. I'm always like, I'll call this person Mark, and then by the end of it, I'm calling him Joe, which is his real name. I do it all the time.
So
It's
it's
a
like,
popular name.
but trying to, yeah, fortunately, this is a very popular name. Um, so literally, this would have been 5 years ago. It was during COVID. The EMT said it looked like he had been choked. The police were called on both her and her husband. Um, so you figure he was in his late 20s.
The first of all, that's what pisses me. I had to gather my thoughts for a second because I get so angry because like people who are so close and they just want to think he was choked, but you can't say that, right? You have to just sit back and be like, I don't know what actually happened. No, more than likely he was attacked. And then the parents get blamed. That really bothers me. That actually happens a lot in cases. I'll see like unsolved death of so and so. And it's like, oh, that's easy. You know, that person was killed by this thing or that thing. But nobody ever wants to hear that. The devil made me do it, right? And that's hard when you have, you know, when you're being blamed as a parent, you already can't protect your child. My son's going to be 26, my oldest son on the 28th, and that's still my baby. That's still my child. When you can't protect your child and then you're blamed for what's happening, that's just horrific.
Yeah. So, Gemma, since we brought up that picture and it was like her ring cam, how much validation do you put into ring cams and other type of things like EMF detectors and even like AI maybe trying to process that image and or any image or even audio recordings? And I know Nathan from the Quantum Show uses a lot of technology on his when he goes out on his ghost hunts and things like that. I saw him talking not too long ago about some of the things that they use. Um, what's your feeling on technology being used to actually capture like that picture that we just saw? How much weight do you give that?
I put a lot of stock in it or none, depending on the person presenting it. Right. So I would have wanted that picture and I would have wanted to do a little more research if it wasn't someone that Michelle knew personally, even though my guide immediately was like, trickster. Like I kept looking over there. I was asking like, what is this? Like, what is this? But I think it's very, very easy to fake and people are right to be skeptical. But the thing with me is I will always either see the energetic imprint or I won't. And if I don't, it's fake. Every once in a while, it's like, oh, wow, is it there? It's faint. But that's very rare that happens. I believe it's very, very easy to fake. But I also believe that's another tool of the lower vibrational, the demonic, of like, they're not going to believe that anyway. Right? They're not going to, no human that sees that is going to believe it. Haha, let's torment some more and keep showing up. So this person looks absolutely crazy. Right? So then they're locked away or they lose everything and then we can feed off that energy. I mean, they're here for destruction. Look at our, world, look at our country. I mean, they're all over the place. There is a city of literally, like I would say 72% of the city is suffering some kind of demonic something on the West Coast here. We all know which city it is. They're overrun. I watch videos of people just going, you wouldn't believe the things I see just on the video. I'm like, oh no. Oh, and like every 2 seconds, it's like, oh my gosh. Oh my, I can't watch it. There's so much demonic activity and it's all culminating in one spot, really. Well, several spots over on that one part of the map. It's all over, but there it's like so much. And it's just like, let's hide in plain sight. People aren't going to believe it anyway. And you'll see the people who will come in later and be like, oh, that's obviously a bug. This girl doesn't know what she's talking about. They'll come troll me on my channel. I don't care. Don't believe me. Leave yourself open to and susceptible. I did what I came to do.
And see what bothers me about those people. Okay, if you want to debunk it, take a screenshot of it, put it on your YouTube channel, and put your neck out there, right? So why are you bothering with your time to watch something that you don't believe? Go on to something you do believe.
A lot of time they do have something on them, that's right. Like if I talk about religion over on TikTok, there are people that get really mad. They go after me. They come after me on all my social medias. Why? Their demon is irritated, right? And I think there's something in some people who have these attachments that they're angry that they're being exposed. They're angry that someone like me exists, or that someone like you guys that are willing to put it out there and analyze. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, oh, you didn't like that? Well, thank you for the engagement. And when you go and put yourself out there on your channel, be sure to do it differently. You know, like, we're putting ourselves out here,
Right.
and we're open and subjected to, I know with me, it's bullying, body shaming, trolling, and I'm a fake, I'm this. And finally, after 5 years on YouTube, I'm just like, okay. Thank you for the engagement. I get paid whether the comment's positive or negative. Have a nice day.
You know, and since you brought that up on the west coast of the United States, and this makes me think of your work that you do in suggest, you know, possible suggesting that alien contact and spiritual phenomenon, you know, may be interconnected in some way. Maybe not, but maybe they are.
Yeah.
But now that you brought that up, it made me think about some of the biggest UFO cases outside of Michigan, that is, are on the West Coast. And it has to do with like people reporting portals over the Pacific Ocean along the coast where there's the deep trenches and there's USOs, underwater submerged objects doing hundreds of miles an hour and flipping around and blowing submarines away, like not literally blowing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're
no,
just
I know.
zipping by and then
Yeah.
shooting out of the water and disappearing off a radar and everything else. So, could we possibly correlate that there is something? I mean, that's the West Coast of the United States geologically is so freaking active with all of the volcanoes along that coast. You have the San Andreas Fault, you have a subduction zone where you have the ocean floor going underneath the continent as our continent's being pushed northwest toward Japan. You know, we have a million active undersea volcanoes in the Ring of Fire around the Pacific Ocean. You know, it goes on and on. That is like a charged, like,
think about too. What do they say? They say some cryptid phenomenon like Bigfoot could also be connected to extraterrestrials. Well, what is the Pacific Northwest known for?
Yep.
Cryptid Bigfoot Central over there. It is Bigfoot Central. And it's just, there has to be some connection. I don't know if human beings are like able to grasp it yet, but there's, you know, I've got to be honest, the things that I see happening when I very rarely can see catastrophic future events is something something big is going to happen in Phoenix, Arizona, and Colorado. I want to say Pueblo, but I don't quote me on that one. And then California is where like all of it is going to culminate. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I see a lot of opening of the ground. I see a lot of demonic, I don't want to say possession because it's not possession, it's attachment, where they can like suggest things, but they're not fully overtaking. And so much of that is going on right now, which is why some people like will look at them, or at least I will, and be like, what? Like, how do you not understand? And then these people are so adamant that like they've been so overly influenced by the devil. They're no longer living in reality. They're living in their demonic reality. And I don't say that lightly, like, oh, these people are demons, because I don't like their politics, or because I don't like what kind of music they listen to, or because I'm PO'd that they, you know, stole cool colored hair and I can't wear it anymore. Like, it's real. It is real. And it's everybody's capable of, it's just for some reason, this one part of the country and this one particular group of people, they are overtaken. And I watch it and I'm terrified because I see them getting more and more powerful, more and more loud, more and more active. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, watching it from afar, even with the election, I told you guys months before who was going to win and what would happen if he didn't.
Yep. And by the way, we will be planning a show before the end of this year to revisit all of our predictions that we made at the start of this year and see where we ended up, because I haven't watched it. I don't remember what was being said much.
I love it.
I know Michelle Well, you know Michelle,
I
and,
know,
and
I know
what she
Michelle.
pulls off.
Michelle's on top of that.
A couple of mine hit. Brian's definitely hit.
Yep, yep.
So
now
I'm
we've
afraid
got
to make
this-
any predictions for 2026.
Yeah, we've got this 3-eye atlas thing going on. We had the sun's polarity flip, so now the North Pole's the South Pole. It's giving off coronal mass ejections.
Oh, you know what I forgot to say? You had mentioned something earlier about something happened during COVID, Michelle, with that guy. The seizure thing, it happened like during COVID, I think you said. Do you know demonic possession was also up like 70% during COVID?
I believe it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like actual demonic possession, Yeah.
People opening themselves up to it.
Some on purpose, some not realized.
And here's the thing. At the time that he was having the seizure, his mom was not even at home.
Well, that actually makes sense. I mean, a mother's going to protect her child. Sometimes they want to torment and torture one person. And they'll only do that when no one else is around, or they'll do it in a way where nobody else can see it. That's how they drive people insane. And they feed off that insanity. They feed off that fear and that outrage and that anger. Could you imagine not being believed? I know what that feels like. Luckily, again, I was already in contact with my main spirit guide and my team, who would help me and say, it's okay, Gemma, that they don't need to understand you. You're fine. But when you don't have that immediate connection, the only reason I had that is because even though my dad never wanted me to talk about it, my mom encouraged me to do whatever I needed to do to make myself comfortable in my own skin. And that's where I was able to open up enough that those energies were allowed to come in, and they've stayed with me. I've made horrific decisions. They don't help me make life decisions unless I ask, and I don't normally ask. They help me understand the spiritual aspects of stuff, the spiritual elements of maybe why I had to go through X, Y, and Z. People say like, oh, you should make the best decisions. How have you been an addict? How have you been in abuse? Because it doesn't work like that. First of all, we can't be psychic about ourselves. And secondly, our team and our main guide specifically, they're there to guide us through life and help protect us, not to make our lives perfect. That's not how the light side works. You have to fight in your life to be a part of the light side, and you gain later on.
Well, and I think you and I talked about this before, and I saw a Shaolin master giving a talk one time, and he said the bigger the light you cast, the bigger the shadow
Yeah,
that is created. So, where there's yin and there's a yang. I mean, there's, all of this stuff that can be brought upon you, and it's just, I don't know. There's just so much that does seem like it's all happening. But also, if you look at our technology, we are bombarded with news from everywhere. And, somebody was just saying today that is social media becoming the new media platform? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, of course it is, because people read a 3-word headline and then they know the whole article and then they pass it on. And so I was thinking, yeah, that's pretty cool, because I like watching some people on YouTube and they do a pretty good job reporting stuff.
Me too.
But here's the problem. The problem is that we become our own, and especially in this field, we become our own echo chamber. We kind of start repeating what somebody else said, and we were like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then we want to repeat it. And by the way, anybody who ever accuses any of us, at least on our level, of being grifters, let me tell you something.
I've been called an e-beggar so many times.
To be a grifter means you got to be making some buck. I mean, you got to be raking in the cash, and that don't happen here.
Yeah, I mean,
so, let's not go there. Everything we do is funded out of pocket or by the generous donations of our listeners and watchers. And
same here. Yep.
So it's just so hilarious, but to your point about what do I want to say? The conspiracy theories and how you're not believed. And Michelle and I being educated, and educators. I'm a science teacher, and we saw that, UFO that set us on this path to meet you and meet all these people and have these discussions and put it out there. And now 5 years later, Google tells us we are the top best number one show in Michigan for UFOs and
I love
paranormal,
that.
right? But we have less than 2,000 subscribers.
I still don't understand that. I said that the other day. I'm like, it took me 5 years to get 6,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And I work like I don't have like a day job. This is my social media and writing books is my job. And still people hate me because they don't like the way I look. People hate me because they don't like the way I talk. People hate me because my teeth are crooked. Like, just go somewhere else. Like, just then don't
still watch. I don't get it.
I never get the urge to go and be like, oh, you think you're so beautiful. You think you're all that. I'm just like, oh, that girl sings nice. She's really pretty. Let me move on. I don't want to hear her anymore. Or maybe I'm jealous and I don't want to look at her. I don't want to attack people. But the main thing for me, I say that is because it's always my looks. Always. It's never the content. It's almost never what I'm saying. It's always the way that I look. And it's always these basement dwell. I'm just like, dude, okay, then I'm not your type. I guess I'm bummed.
Is it generally females coming at you?
I bet
men too, but yes, mainly females. Females. And I'm like, I know the type. That's fine. I've met a lot of women like that. It's so like, why? Grown adults bullying other grown adults on the internet. Like, what are we?
They never
we get paid for our 3 cents for the comment, whether it's good or bad. So
right,
keep at it.
Well, that's just it. And that's one thing I've discovered about YouTube, and I think they recently made this kind of change, is that they're not so much thinking about like your analytics and stuff. It's not about subscribers much anymore. It's about views. Mm-hmm. It's about how many views and how long people are viewing and stuff. But conspiracy theories. So nobody believes us, all of this stuff. But then why are world leaders and things like that having ceremony, the burning of cares, where they are wrapping up a fake like baby and throwing it in a fire at the foot of a giant statue of an owl?
Totally normal.
Known as Moloch. They're wearing cloaks and stuff in the middle of the night with baby sounds, screaming.
And once they were found out, they moved. They don't do that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but they don't do Bohemian Grove anymore. They've moved. I'm sure they still do it, but they've moved it now. Why? If it really wasn't happening and it wasn't going on.
But you're a conspiracy theorist.
And not only that, like, that's the best you're going to come up with. If you're making up stuff to get people to watch, right? Or like rage baiting people or trying to get people to watch, you're not going to, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's true. And I think that's what I was saying before. Like, it goes back to that where like, it's so incredibly obvious. It's right there that it's so obvious no one can see it. And like, it's so ridiculous that people are like, it can't possibly be true. But it's so ridiculous. Who would make that up? There's so many other things I could think of that would get people to have more views on my channel to say than I've seen spirits my entire life. And now I'm remembering being abducted. I could say much cooler stuff. I could tell other real life stories about being on the streets that'll get more people to watch. Why? Why would I do that? And I found YouTube too. No offense to you guys. You guys are great. But like just the random people that happen to stop in, it's the cruelest platform out there. People are the most... I have never been treated so poorly in my life than I am in my YouTube comments.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so far we've gotten pretty lucky, except for, like I said, the last few weeks, we've had a couple trolls on and, able to pick them out real fast.
Yeah.
So.
But, I just feel them when they come in.
Yeah.
In my stream, you'll see I'll go like this and Ghost Dragon will go like that. And then everyone in the chat's like, don't worry, we're ready. It's like we can just feel them when because they'll come in and say something like, and they'll just throw a question out like an oracle, like not say hi, not say nothing. They're just trying to like get me in a gotcha, and it's just like they make themselves very obvious.
Well, a lot of that is bots too.
Yeah. That is a big problem on here in the live stream specifically, actually.
And a lot of the people and things we've had to deal with is really, I found, defense contractor guys and DOD guys that have come in, especially like in our Facebook group and stuff. And it's like, look, if you want to know what we know, we'll happily tell you. That's why we have a show. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have to play these kind of games, but what they want to do is, control the narrative. That's really what it's all about.
Create confusion, control the
Yep.
narrative. That's like I said, what is
Misinformation.
Satan's greatest trick, right? It's
Yep.
right in our faces. People dressing up like Satan and performing at music awards on television. Everyone's cheering and applauding.
And you don't realize you're watching a ritual take place.
Right. I think it was Travis Scott, allegedly, obviously, because I don't want anyone to get sued, but people died at his concert because he was jumping and then the crowd started jumping, and people were trampled and it might have caused an earthquake. Like, no, he was ritualistically sacrificing people. Why does one specific performer come out all of a sudden in darkness and in a red or black hood, I think it's red, with images of bloodied bodies falling behind him on all of the big screens, as music that sounds like evil demonic worship music plays in the background, and he doesn't say anything for a full 4 minutes while the crowd cheers? He is sacrificing. You think sacrifice, you think the person has to be unalived. No, your energy is well enough, because once an entity gets a little piece of that, if they like that little piece, they're going to find you and direct all their attention to you. They have nothing else to do.
And if you think about that, yeah. And then, there's the whole idea of topos, right? So are you using energy to actually manifest these things? So if the person that's running the ritual, right, in this case, let's say some stage performer, and then they're gathering up all this energy and having people jump up and down and stuff, what can they manifest?
Yes. That's exactly it. There was actually a YouTube short I watched. It was funny because it was this guy and he was behind a gate, pretending to be at a concert. And the singer was like, repeat after me. And it was saying, singing. And all of a sudden it's like, I worship the devil and we're going to worship demons tonight. And then everyone's so entranced. They're like, I worship the devil. And the guy's like, oh, wait a minute. What did he say? But it's true. It's so true. It's why, I haven't been to a concert in probably 20 years. I think, Bruce Springsteen was like the most I'd do, because I'm scared of what is going to be there. What am I going to see? I recently told a friend I don't particularly want to go to the Beyonce concert with her. And immediately she was like, oh, I know why, because I must be racist. But no, it's because I don't like the energy and the things that hang around her that I see. It's nothing to do with that. She's admittedly a witch. We can go down, allegedly, we can go down that whole rabbit hole. People sometimes they don't want to see it. And sometimes they think it's cool. And sometimes they're being conditioned over time spiritually by these entities to think nothing of it at all.
Yep. All right, Gemma, look, it's been an hour and 40 minutes already.
I know.
So we're going to have to wrap this one up. What do you got coming up? And what do you got going on, man?
So I did take a break from Live Intuitive Oracle for the time being. I'm focusing more on my religion and spirituality, but that's public. I'm still doing private readings. I've got my Halloween scents out as far as the manifestation intention sprays with the moon water and the crystals up until Halloween. You can email me to get any information about any of this. I also have the book coming out. It's as yet untitled, but I'm hoping to release it around Halloween. Real encounters with extraterrestrial entities that people have had. I'm staying paranormal on YouTube. I'm not really changing much. You might see some comedic religious stuff in my shorts. But if you want to do the religious political thing with me, you can follow me over on TikTok, because I'm very vocal over there. That's really it. I took a step back from a lot of doing interviews, and there's too much going on with people. I trust you guys. I don't mind being around you. There are some people I just needed to take a step back, but you can find me on YouTube every Tuesday night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern. I release a fairly short video about some true crime case or some demonic haunting. I've got the 7 Nights of Halloween coming up from October 25th all the way through to the 31st. There'll be a different video with a demonic theme every night uploaded on my channel as a premiere, so you can watch and talk to one another. And for any and all correspondence, guys, I don't do Facebook messages. I don't really I'll comment back to you, but like if you have questions and stuff, always email me. I don't do PMs, DMs, TikTok, Facebook. I don't do any of that stuff. You've got to email me if you want to communicate with me or ask, me any questions. That's
awesome. Michelle, did you want to say anything? Did your friend text
Nope,
you or
I
anything
just
else?
want to well, she's got to be up super early for work.
Yeah, I've got to get up at 6 a.m. too. My little guy just got home with my husband. You like called at the exact second. I'm like, oh, good. Okay.
So, but I told her that you had a young one at home and where you're at.
I will get back to her though, and I will set up a call with her at the very least, if not a video call, because then I can kind of look around her and see through the video call, is something already there? Does she have issues, or do we just need to keep it out and just be proactive? Which is kind of the energy I feel, because I don't feel all nervous and like when I'm connected to someone like I am with you, Michelle, and that person's connected with you, it's almost like I would pick it up like that, like, oh crap, I don't feel very like anxious, or I just feel like, let's be proactive. I will help her at least keep it at bay and teach her how to protect herself if anything does start happening.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, Gemma, it's been a great night, and we want to get you out of here so you can get up in the morning, and we got to get up as well. So
I got to get up in mom. Gosh.
All right, we'll talk soon. We'll set up another show coming up as we get closer toward the end of the year, and let us know when the book comes out, and we'll definitely talk about that. So
I would love to. Thank you, everybody. Bye, guys. Good night.
Yep, bye. Have a great night. Alrighty, there you are. Okay, well, first of all, before we sign out of here, we got to give some big thank yous. So first of all, we had T-Bone, who has now been a member for 12 months on YouTube. Thank you, T-Bone, very much. And then we had Gary with a super sticker early on in the show, even 15 minutes before the show started.
And rocking that Detroit Tigers gear in that photo, in that picture as they move on.
Yep. Detroit Tigers getting after it. And then we had T-Bone, who hit us up with a great donation via YouTube super chat. So awesome. And look at T-Bone sporting the Michigan UFO t-shirt all the way out in British Columbia. So Canada, we love our neighbors to the north, the great white north up there. So, and Dorothy,
and Mama Dorothy.
Yep. Dorothy renewed her membership today as well. So thank you, Dorothy, and thank you everybody for helping us out in joining us, especially over on Gemma's channel as well.
We've got a long week. We've got the banquet tomorrow.
Yep.
So
Michelle's teacher of the year.
Yep. Where I am getting look at
Diane.
Look at this
super chat from Diane.
Thank you so much. And we now have
Shelley
Montgomery as a YouTube member. Awesome. Thank you. Tomorrow we have the banquet, secondary teacher of the year banquet.
Yay.
So I don't know.
26 years of teaching, Michelle, and it's finally paid off.
Don't know if I have to give a speech yet. This might be completely impromptu tomorrow night. But remember, it's October.
Yep.
And I cannot wait until one of my kids asks me for a bathroom pass tomorrow. You know why, Wayne?
Oh boy. Why?
Be like, it's time for a spooky dookie.
Middle school teachers,
when you poo in the month of October, it's a spooky dookie.
Yes, the spooky dookie. Okay.
I must not have gotten enough sleep last night.
Yeah. And you're functioning on not enough sleep and coffee.
And so. I had a huge cup of coffee during the show.
All right. So what do we got coming up? Well, right now, as it stands, next Sunday, we have Nathaniel Gillis coming back on, and we're going to talk about the paranormal entities, his research into what he's calling necronetics and how his research is going. And we're going to get further into that. So Nathaniel will be with us. I am working
dead stuff, scary stuff, and hopefully nobody else gets scratched.
Before you come and watch the show, make sure that you do put up some kind of protection for yourself.
Dragon's
Just
blood, do a salt
what
circle, something.
whatever it is, right? Say a prayer, Saint Michael. I don't know who the protection saints are or anything like that, but do something to protect yourself, because every time we have Nathaniel on, things get weird, either for us or for people in the audience. So just keep that in mind, because we do poke the bear with Nathaniel, and we expose a lot of the dark entities that are around. And
we're going to be putting things up in chat just to keep chat safe.
yeah. And then so we're planning on a Saturday show coming up. All right. So because we are going down to Ohio to visit Benny Fogan and make some videos of the metal and any experiences we might capture down there.
Are we talking about the 18th?
Oh, yeah.
No, we're doing a show on the 18th
We're doing
because
a
we are
show,
going
right.
to see Aaron Lewis.
That's right. We got our concert that weekend. I told you I have brain fog.
That was part of my birthday gift, was to go see Aaron Lewis.
Yeah, in Detroit.
Down in Detroit.
Yep. So Aaron Lewis is the 19th, but we're going to do a show on the 18th. Nobody's signed up for that yet, but I'm trying. I've made contact with the one and only Ryan Graves. So I'm hoping he reaches out and wants to come on the show.
We've got some other interesting stuff though up our sleeves.
Yep. And then our first Sunday of November, which is November 2nd, we have the one and only Daryl W. Sims, the alien hunter, who's been on a ton of shows and co-hosted shows. So that's going to be a fantastic show. And he was the host of Uncovering Aliens. And I think that was Discovery Channel or Animal Planet, one of them, but he's been on so many of them. He's a former CIA officer. It's going to be an amazing show. And so we talked on the phone the other day, and he just emailed me and confirmed for November 2nd. So that's going to be an awesome interview that we do. So Michelle, what do people do if they want to contact us?
Please email us at mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com.
That's right. And as you guys know, if you want to help support us, you can with PayPal Super Chats. You can join our Patreon. We have a merchandise store. You can click on the links. Everything is in our show descriptions, and you'll see a link tree. Click on that, and it'll take you to all of our stuff, including the audio version of this podcast about the next day after we do the live show. It will show up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, among others. And then, Michelle, what should they have been doing during the live show?
Like, share, and subscribe, and smash that like button. Hulk smash.
And of course, leave us a comment. Leave us a comment afterwards. And we still have our new website is still up and functioning. It looks like it's doing okay. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight with the great Gemma Jade. We are very happy that you were here.
Have a great week, everyone.
And have a great week. And remember, keep your eyes to that
sky.
Dang it.
Sorry.
Why'd you do that all the time?
Shush.
It's time for a spooky dookie.